Hey everyone, this is Scott from Forgot to Grow Up. Welcome to our Star Trek Picard Season 1, Episode 2 Thoughts video. Just finished watching the latest episode of Star Trek Picard, and I'm just going to be sharing my general thoughts on the episode. In this episode, we see a flashback of the synthetics attack that we learned a little bit about in the last episode, and we also follow Picard trying to figure out a plan for how he can try to go on a search for the twin and the guy who potentially made Data's daughters in a sense. This episode went by really quickly, even though we had quite a few little things happening in this. That's my main takeaway from this episode. It ended, I was like, wait, what? That was all 40 minutes of this movie? Okay. Whew. And then I thought back, I'm like, oh yeah, we did hop around. We had this synthetics attack that we saw, which was interesting to see. We get a little more context, as it seems that they may have been taken over as opposed to just having gone rogue, which I kind of suspected after learning a little bit about this last episode. It kind of was interesting to see the flashback of it happening and how it actually went down, and so that kind of then leads into what we learned, what Picard actually learns in this episode, and what we learn, which is about these Romulan secret police that are actually like a front for another secret organization. At least that's the way I understood it from the way the one lady explained it in this Picard's one Romulan friend. I totally forgot to look up those two's names. So we learned about that, which is interesting to kind of learn about this kind of Romulan, I don't want to say cult, but Romulan secret organization that doesn't like artificial intelligence and synthetics and anything like that. And so that's kind of seems to be like the villain that we're going to be following this episode or in this season, because we spent pretty much this whole episode getting a little bit more information about that, but I'll talk about that a little bit more after. But yeah, so Picard learns about this, so then he's I gotta go find her before the Romulan secret police get to who's Dr. Asher, I believe her name was. That's the twin of I already forgot her name, who we met last season, Data's daughters. Picard goes to Starfleet to try and ask to be reinstated for just a single mission, so he can go off and try and solve all this and stop the Romulans from destroying Data's daughters in this. That was really interesting to see that scene of him, going and him kind of having this, kind of expecting it to go one way, just being reinstated. His thing was even like, oh, you can demote me if it's, too inconspicuous that I am an admiral doing this thing. And the lady at Starfleet, whose name I totally missed. I'm so bad with names. She kind of just shoots Picard down in the meanest way. And everyone just keeps bringing up his interview. And I'm like, it wasn't that bad an interview in my opinion. Maybe it's just maybe it's just the current media that's kind of made me have that view. But that being said, it was kind of interesting to see that it's not Starfleet who's going to end up helping him go off in this mission, and that there is this really weird tension between him and the leadership, at least at Starfleet. And that kind of leads into the secret police thing, because the Starfleet lady talks to another Starfleet lady who's Romulan, I believe, and then that kind of connects into implying that they're behind the attack that killed the Data's daughter in the last episode, and that they're kind of trying to figure out. They're trying to pretty much con Dr. Asher into telling them where pretty much her other synthetics potentially are, where she came from and where they are. So that was really kind of I thought that mystery was going to get kind of stretched out a little bit more. We still got some stuff to fill in, but we did kind of learn a lot about it in this one, who's behind the attacks. I thought that they were going to prolong that a little bit more, but they're like, yeah, no, straight up, here it is. Yeah, that dude that we see Dr. Ash is sleeping with, he's this other lady's who's part of Starfleet. They're brother and sister, but they're Romulan. They're both Romulan. She's got a disguise where she covered her ears, made them round, and so it was a lot. It was a lot of information in this one. That I was just like, oh, okay. I thought we were gonna stretch this out a little bit more over the season, but I guess there's other things we're gonna be having to dive into other than who's behind this. But at the same time, it's like, well, who's the leadership of this? Is it that the Starfleet lady, that's the Romulan Starfleet lady that the one Star. I really need to actually start paying more attention to these names. I gotta put the subtitles on next time I watch. But yeah, so this one was really interesting to kind of learn a little bit more, and like I said, it was unexpected for me, and it went by really quickly. To learn all this kind of background on who's kind of behind this, behind the hunting down Data's daughters in a sense. And so that was just, like I said, it was unexpected for us that we would learn this so soon, but that just kind of gives me hope that we're going to get into even more stuff, because we obviously still have to find the guy who made the, if it is that guy. This is all, a lot of this stuff is too still speculation too. They're kind of loosely connecting these things, and you can make assumptions, but sometimes that's how you get twists. Sometimes is they set things up, and then they're like, oh, you shouldn't have assumed, Picard's thinking this whole time it's the one guy who created it, but some other people think that guy's dead. So it's like, maybe that doctor guy who they think had created wasn't it. Maybe it's somebody else. Maybe Data's actually alive. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I wouldn't put it past them if they bring Data back in some other way, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be that. But that being said, this episode was pretty. I enjoyed it, but it just went by really. It felt like it went by pretty quickly. The pacing, just there was a lot. Like I said, a lot happened. We got a lot of information, and yeah, so. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to kind of see where this season's going, where we're going with this. I want to find out, if Picard's right about who's behind, having created Data's daughters, and how that's all going to get explained. And I'm still curious for him to meet his new crew, because I guess that's kind of where we leave off this episode with him, is he's going off to meet with somebody. Pretty much leave Picard trying to find a crew and a ship to help him on this mission that isn't the Next Generation crew, because they do bring up that, why don't you go talk to Riker or Geordi or anybody, and he's like, no, if I ask them they'll say yes, and I don't want them to risk it, so I'll go ask somebody. So she's like, so you gotta go ask somebody who hates you, and it's like, well, I guess that makes some sense. But so that's where we kind of leave off Picard, is he's going to assemble a crew that's going to help him find Data's daughter, and then who made Data's daughter, and hopefully prevent the Romulan secret police from doing this all. So I'm pretty excited to see where this season goes from here. But sure, let me know though in the comments below what you thought about this season, or where you think this season is going. I'm curious to hear other people's thoughts on it. But thanks again for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel already, and have a good one.